The following is a presentation of the Spartan Media Network.
This is the Kristen Kelsay Show.
Great pass, Malaya long, outside for Staniszewska, cross court, got it on the sideline. Schneider from Mumchalar from the right side pin, tools the block to score. Overpass, buried by Zuzana Kulik, and that's a 4-0 run for the Spartans.
The Kristen Kelsay Show is presented by One North Kitchen and Bar, making good times great. The Kristen Kelsay Show is also brought to you by Farm Bureau, Michigan's insurance company, MSU FCU, Spartan fans dream big with MSU Federal Credit Union, Meijer, supporting hundreds of sports teams across the Midwest, and Alumni Hall, your ultimate Spartan shopping experience. Now, with head coach Kristen Kelsay, here's your host, John Krieger.
Welcome into the Coach Kristen Kelsay Show, presented by One North Kitchen and Bar. We are live at One North Kitchen and Bar in East Lansing. If you want to join our audience for any of the MSU Coaches shows, make your reservation by emailing coachesshows@onenorthdining.com. As you can tell, I am not John Krieger. This is the one show this season that he's expected to miss. He's going to be here for the rest of them. But good news for all of you, as I fill in as Dalton Shetler. We still have the star of the show, Kristen Kelsay. Give a nice warm welcome, everybody, huh?
Thank you, Dalton, and thank you for filling in for John.
Of course. It's something that's certainly going to be really exciting to get into because this show is loaded, folks. We're going to be joined by a couple of Spartan great players. Breccan Scheck will join us here in a little bit. Give a nice warm welcome to Breccan, everybody. And we'll also be joined by Karolina Staniszewska up here on stage. So give Karolina a nice warm welcome as well.
Dalton, good job. That's a tough name. You crushed it.
We do homework. We do homework. But there's a lot to be excited for. Of course, we met a couple of weeks ago here for the first Kristen Kelsay show of the season. There have still been no games leading up to this point.
Correct.
But that's about to change because in 2 days, Michigan State, who is receiving votes for the first time in 8 years, will get ready to battle another team receiving votes in a huge season opener against the Miami Hurricanes in East Lansing. This is something that a lot of people are pretty excited about.
Yeah, we're really excited. I know our team is itching to play an opponent, to be back in the Breccan Center. We had a closed exhibition last week, which was a good test for us, a good dry run for us, especially with our 6 new athletes who have not played a match in the Breccan Center. But we are itching to get out there and to compete.
That's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll also talk about that closed-door exhibition against Eastern Michigan a little bit later on. But as we said there is a lot of buzz. You said you were just excited to see a different team, to be able to play against somebody else. I had this conversation with Pat Fitzgerald the other day. How excited are you to hit somebody not green and white? I feel like all the fall sports have kind of had this run-up where now you're just kind of itching to get going.
Well, and we did. And with the waiver this year, we were able to start a week earlier, which was so great. It was great for our athletes' bodies, right? It gave us more time to ramp up. It also was difficult because you had an extra week of not playing anybody else. And really proud of the way that they stayed competing urgently against themselves, their teammates, but they're looking forward to that third component, which is competing against another roster.
And that is certainly coming up and quick because besides Miami, there's also a Long Island team coming to town that was in the NCAA tournament last year as well. So it's a big, big weekend for Michigan State volleyball. During the volleyball season, swing by One North Kitchen and Bar, where every meal is an ace and the patio is always open when the sun is shining. This is the Kristen Kelsay Show, presented by One North Kitchen and Bar, here on the Spartan Media Network.
Spartans, when it's game time, it's One North time. Just minutes from Michigan State University, One North Kitchen and Bar is your go-to spot for scratch cooking and world-class hospitality. When you're celebrating a win or catching up with friends, we've got the perfect dish to make every moment special. Join us for the MSU Coaches Show and get closer to the action with the voices that bring Spartan spirit to life. Visit One North Kitchen and Bar, where Spartan pride meets memorable meals.
Hear that roar? That's the sound of Spartan Nation. And Dean Trailways is right there, every mile of the way. As the official ground transportation provider of Michigan State Athletics, we connect Spartans to championships. For every game, every practice, every victory, we deliver it. Elite service that powers the green and white. When you demand championship-level transportation, Dean Trailways is your winning drive. Become part of our team at DeanTrailways.com.
At the Capital Region International Airport, we connect our community to the world with nonstop flights to Washington, D.C. and Chicago on American Airlines, Detroit on Delta Airlines, and Orlando and Fort Myers on Breeze Airways. When you fly Lansing, you're just one stop away from over 500 global destinations. And with direct flights to Cancun, Punta Cana, and Los Cabos from January through April, your escape to beautiful tropical beaches is easier than ever. The Capital Region International Airport, your gateway to the world. Visit flylansing.com for more information and to book your flight today.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Welcome back to the Coach Kristen Kelsay Show, presented by One North Kitchen and Bar. At Farm Bureau Insurance, they're inviting you inside the green for an exclusive dinner with basketball coach Tom Izzo. For details and to register, visit InsideTheGreenSweeps.com. Farm Bureau Insurance, proud sponsor of Michigan State Athletics. As we mentioned here, we're being joined by head coach Kristen Kelsay. Kristen, one of the things that you often talk about with your team in this program, a season is in chapters.
Yeah.
And chapter one now is kind of closing the book. As we talked about, there's a highly anticipated season opener coming up. What did you take away from chapter one leading up to the season? How was fall camp? How was the training?
Yeah, even our team meeting on Monday, the first slide was chapter 2, week 1. Right, so now we have entered that second chapter where we are finally going to play two NCAA tournament opponents from last year. But chapter 1, it was a really special chapter for us in terms of just our values, right? How we lived those, how we integrated our new athletes. We did a lot off the court together. We surprised them. Probably saw on social media with a trip to South Haven, right? Something that we did back in the Kathy George era quite a bit that I wanted to bring back. And they worked really hard. You should be really proud that they came into a hot Jennison Fieldhouse every day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. And they've set the stage, right? They've set the stage for Friday and Saturday's match that we don't have as much tape on these teams because they haven't played a match yet. But I'm going to be really proud of the product you're going to see on our side of the net. And that was our goal, that when we roll into our matches this weekend, what are we going to be? Who are we going to be? And that was the goal of our preseason.
That trip to South Haven, I actually had a note that there was a unique bus driver connection to that.
Yeah.
So what's the story there?
Okay, so Marv is our goated, the greatest of all time bus driver. He's driven us all over the country. He drove to Illinois to drive us from Northwestern to Illinois. Like that's. Wow. He's a big Spartan Volleyball fan and has become a friend of our program. So when Shane and I were conjuring, how do we surprise the team? Like they were all ready for practice. They're starting their warm-up. We said, it was Shane's idea, said, what if Marv walks in and he's the one to tell them? And I think you saw the video. As soon as they saw Marv, they lost it. And then we said we're going to the beach, and it was a wonderful day.
How awesome is that? And there are some other events too, to Lansing Lugnuts, MSU Dairy Store. I mean, there's been a real focus on getting this team to be together and be one unit.
It was one thing that I was probably most proud of them this summer was the connection that they worked through. And we're going to talk to Breccan Scheck. She was our connection coordinator this summer of, hey, how do we infiltrate these new athletes and really encourage our team, our friendships to expand, right? So you're not just hanging out with your roommates or your position group or your best friends, which is going to happen on a team. And her role, I wanted to continue all the work that she did this summer, this preseason. And we talk about this is something I learned from Kathy is we can do team bonding all that we want. But if you're not actually spending time with the person you know the least or maybe like the least, we're not really bonding. We're just hanging out with the people we know the best. And so that's always my challenge to them. When we do these trips to South Haven and these events at my house, can you not just hang out with your roommate? Because otherwise you're not really expanding your circle.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And now the challenge is to put that in between the lines. And again, you saw that a little bit last week. It was actually a week ago today. You had the closed doors exhibition against Eastern Michigan. Obviously, not everybody has a lot of information what happened. It was behind closed doors. What were the takeaways for you and what you saw from your team in that scrimmage?
Yeah, the takeaways were our high level of volleyball is pretty high. And the biggest takeaway was how often can we play that level, right? So for 2 sets, we were pretty strong. And then it started to wane a little bit, right? And then we were able to regroup, and I was really proud of the way they responded, but I was not satisfied with the consistency throughout the whole match. Now, there's some caveats to that, right? We changed lineups almost every set. We had different athletes playing different roles. So, but they do that every day in practice, and that was my challenge to them. If we play sets and we mix lineups every day in practice. So now how do we do that in a competitive environment in the Fire? And the way they responded towards the end of the match, I was really proud of how we finished that match.
2 questions to kind of follow off of that. One being you get to play a real team in Eastern Michigan there in that exhibition. That wasn't always the way this went. What is the benefit of seeing an actual different opponent before you get to the season? Yeah,
we used to just play the green and white scrimmage, which many of you probably remember. I think there's a lot of pros for playing another opponent. One, we ran full game day. We did starting lineups. We did the video board. We did the timing of the game day, the meal. So for our athletes, a reminder of, hey, this is how our attacking warm-up looks like. This is when we serve, just to get some of those nerves out, right, for them in our Breccan Center is important. Secondly, we practice to scout, right? So, hey, this is how we're scouting Eastern Michigan. This is the expectation for scout. And then third, to have them play a team that you actually don't know what they're going to do. We can scout them all we want, but volleyball is such a variable game that we do not know. And so how do you respond? And how do you see in addition to what you already know? And so that practice against a team where there's a scoreboard is something you cannot replicate in your own gym. And it was so good for us leading into this weekend.
Well, you mentioned having the scoreboard, the video board, everything going. That takes a lot from the support staff, like Sarah Brushaber, who, of course, does event operations, and it is her birthday today.
It is Sarah Brushaber's birthday.
Happy birthday, Sarah.
It is. I mean, to be supported the way we are through Sarah and through our administration to allow us to have an exhibition in Breslin is pretty special. And so we're grateful for all of that work behind the scenes to have challenge review and everything available for that exhibition match.
We might come back to this exhibition a little bit later on in the show, but I do want to ask this one more, too, because your team's got a lot of depth, and you talked about, mixing in different pieces, different players. You've got some healthy competition going on at some different positions. I'm curious, what's the real benefit to that as a coaching staff to have a good problem with so much depth?
It's that quote, right? Like a rising ship lifts all boats, right? So like the better our bottom is, the better our top has to be to earn the ability to compete. Did I get that quote wrong over there?
I think it was pretty close.
It was close.
Paraphrase at least, right? Like
rising boat lifts all boats, something like that.
Rising tide.
Rising tide lifts all boats. Thank you. I saw some smiles over there. But that's how it is, right? Our floor is a lot higher than it was last year. So to be a starter on this team, it's harder this year than it was last year. That's how I know we're in a good place, because our competition battles are closer, our numbers are higher, and it's just tougher right now with the people that we've brought in to complement and with our returners working as hard as they have. So we still have a couple competitions, and I think that's a really healthy place to be on a team that has a lot of healthy athletes right now.
And, of course, you mentioned last year that success, 18 wins. It's the most in 8 years for MSU volleyball since that 2017 squad. It's simply incredible. Absolutely. We're live from East Lansing with the head coach of the Spartans, Kristen Kelsay. Our show is presented by One North Kitchen and Bar. You're listening to the Kristen Kelsay Show.
Hey Spartans, ready to put Michigan State at the top of the Big Ten? Abbott and the Big Ten are back with the We Give Blood competition. Donate blood anywhere in the U.S. through December 5th and submit your donation. You'll score a limited edition tee, help save up to 3 lives, and move MSU one step closer to the $1 million prize for student and community health. Text Give Blood to number 222-688 or visit big10.org/Abbott. Let's go Spartans.
Hey Spartan fans, you've got the chance to stay up to date with the latest happenings in Spartan Volleyball this season and hear them straight from the coach's mouth. This is the voice of Spartan Volleyball, John Krieger. Join me and head coach Kristen Kelsay for the Kristen Kelsay Radio Show. Check out the Kristen Kelsay Radio Show schedule under the Coaches Radio Shows tab at msuspartans.com.
Hear that roar? That's the sound of Spartan Nation. And Dean Trailways is right there, every mile of the way. As the official ground transportation provider of Michigan State Athletics, we connect Spartans to championships. For every game, every practice, every victory, we deliver it. Elite service that powers the green and white. When you demand championship-level transportation, Dean Trailways is your winning drive. Become part of our team at DeanTrailways.com.
From the biggest of the big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go, go!
Run, James!
No, first base!
Go, go, go! Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
We are back live on the Kristen Kelsay Show, presented by One North Kitchen and Bar. And a big thank you to our partner, Auto Owners Insurance. Simple, human sense. All right, folks, do me the favor of helping to welcome on our guest, a junior from Glen Ellen, Illinois, number 18, Breccan Scheck. Give it up, everybody. Breccan, thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here.
Well, and Kristen Kelsay was just mentioning a few moments ago, you were the connection coordinator to help really get everything together for the squad. So how did the title come about? What were all the responsibilities of connection coordinator?
Yeah, so Kristen called me at the end of the spring, and she was like, I really think you're a good person to kind of lead those connections. And with having 6 new people coming with us, they came for the spring, but we really wanted that summer while it was just us with no coaches. Having that time and freedom to be able to work on those connections, to kind of bring that into the fall, was something that we wanted to do. The name kind of, I don't know, we played with it a little bit.
Yeah, we played with it.
But it was such an honor to be able to do that, and I had really great teammates that ended up also kind of coming in, which was the main goal of having it be more of a collaborative thing. So it was awesome to see those relationships unfold.
Breccan is one of those teammates that she can filter within every group, within every player and every teammate, and she makes you feel seen and loved and like she's meant to be there. And so watching her interact with her group, of how she can really fill any group of friends, any position group, and she's welcomed and she's trusted. It's like she has done the work with her teammates to be the leader of this, and well deserved.
Oh, I appreciate that.
How cool is that? I mean, what a great compliment that is to receive from your coach. It's interesting too when Breccan came up here to join us. Kristen had just mentioned during the commercial breaks, there's actually a bit of a fun fact between these two. Actually, Kristen, you grew up really close to where Breccan's family lives.
Yeah, I think my parents' house is like less than 2 miles from where she grew up, which is crazy.
Yeah, we were just talking about her mom will stop at, my mom has a juice bar in our downtown, and they frequently visit each other after games and talk about what happened.
What a great friend to have there, a Spartan there in Glen Ellen, Illinois. Well, let's talk about a couple of things here with Breccan as well. One, I did want to pass along some more of the intel we got from the fly on the wall in the closed-door scrimmage, that being John Krieger, who, of course, had all sorts of different notes and observations of his own. But he noticed one thing about Breccan, that he was really impressed with Breccan, said she had a lot more shots in the arsenal than maybe a year ago. You've taken a big jump that way. Says you can just tell you've been spending a lot of time in the gym. So is John right?
I mean, I like to think John is right. But, it was a lot of fun to be able to kind of show the work that all of us have put in through the offseason, working with Casey, and then through our connections just with each other, and then working on solidifying that tempo. I think we've been working on different routes and different timings that have allowed me to open up space to get more shots, especially middles as a whole. I think we've really been working hard to kind of incorporate us more into the offense, which has seen results, and that's through our pass being good and executing there too. So it was fun to play that in their scrimmage this last week.
What have you noticed from her improvement?
Yeah, Breccan worked her tail off this summer. She raised her vertical almost 2 inches. She is finding opportunities to score in a way that she wasn't able to last year. And so to see, that's my favorite part as a coach, right? To see an athlete work as hard as Breccan does, for that hard work to pay off, and then for her to find the success on the court is pretty special. And so she's very humble, and she's going to talk about all her teammates, but it's a kudos to the work that she has done off the court, behind the scenes, for her play to elevate the way it has.
And we're talking about an improvement. Well, we should backtrack to last year. Breccan was actually second on the team with 47 blocks last year. So add 2 more inches of a vertical jump to that. Who knows where the ceiling is for Breccan?
What? I'm going to butcher another quote. I was going to say the ceiling is limitless.
Confidence is shaken now.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you project for Breccan? I mean, where can this go for her?
What do you think, Breck?
I mean, I think it allows me to be bigger and more confident in my moves. So that's something that I also need to kind of shift my perspective on. Like, a lot of times I'm there now and I can touch more things or do more things, but now it's like, how can I work with what I have and now be like low and over on the net and working on different skills to back that up.
I should mention here, too, the background of Breccan. She actually started her collegiate career at Washington State and then transferred to Michigan State after the 2024 season, coming in the same time as head coach Kristen Kelsay. So, Kristen, I mean, for you, the experience when you come in as a brand new head coach to a spot like this, assembling a roster, especially today, is so much different.
Yeah.
And it feels probably overwhelming. I know it certainly does to listeners and fans. I can only imagine for you. But as you scanned the transfer portal, what did you have earmarked about Breccan? What enticed you to go get her and bring her to East Lansing?
So I talked about this a little bit last time. When you the transfer portal is just chaos. So the first thing you're looking at is like numbers and the eye test, right? Which Breccan passed both. She passed the numbers and the eye test, right? This is a starting middle in a Power 4 conference. She's got the numbers. She could play the game. And then we got on the phone with Breccan. And actually, one of our former Spartans, Carly Weiler, was one of the first person that I chatted with about Breccan. Carly was a teammate of mine. She coaches club volleyball in the Chicagoland area. What I've loved about Breccan is what.
We just had the audio repaired in our own headset, so that's caused the jump scare for Kristen. Sorry, but that was a true, genuine reaction, folks. We were playing through for a minute.
What she does and who she is, right? Like, I would argue that Breccan's brain and her character is even more important than her physicality and her volleyball skill, because the way that we've put her in leadership roles, the way that her teammates see her as one of the top athletes who lives our values, right, is just a compliment. And those are the things you don't always find on numbers and film. But once you get to know her, once I make all these phone calls about who Breccan is, and then she comes in and has the impact she does on our culture and our team on and off the court, to me is like what makes Breccan so special.
Well, what was it from your perspective that brought you to Michigan State?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was coming back to culture and where I felt I was going to grow both on the court and off the court. And I think looking at it of the big picture, obviously this is a great school and somewhere I wanted to be, but looking at who do I want my mentors to be, whether that's like the coaching staff wise and teammates wise, how can I grow both personally and kind of professionally in that regard? And MSU was kind of a no-brainer for me. As soon as I got on the phone, I was like, I had visited campus prior, and as soon as I stepped on campus, the love and support that this program has I knew where I wanted to be, so it was a no-brainer for me.
And Breccan's in the business college, so she's a high academic athlete too. So like she really is the student athlete who is experiencing all the best parts, in my opinion, of Michigan State, which is pretty cool.
Well, that was actually one of the notes I had, but tell us a little bit more about the academic pursuit and what is it eventually, whenever volleyball is done for you, what is it you want to do?
Yeah, so right now I'm majoring in marketing and I have a minor in sports business management, but that looked a little bit different coming in here as a transfer. So I then had to apply in the business school. After my first semester, I had to take like a few econ stats, through MSU to be able to transfer into that business school. So as soon as I got into the business school, I had the last spring to be able to do that. And I've gotten into I'm in the Marketing Association and Dashny Women's Leadership Association, and now Broad Mentorship leader. So that's something really cool I've gotten to experience and use what I've gained through athletics to kind of impact me in that. And I'm still kind of figuring out what I want to do within that, but it's been a super cool experience through Broad and through different mentors through that academic aspect has really helped me.
A question for each of you before we let Breccan loose and we bring up Karolina next. Let's start with Coach Kelsay. Mm-hmm. What should people, Spartan fans that come into the Breslin Center, cheer on Breccan, What should they know about her that makes her so special, stand out from the crowd?
I want you just to watch her communicate with her teammates, whether she's on the court or off the court, right? The joy that Breccan plays with and the leadership and the communication is elite. Whether she's at the net communicating to her blockers, turning around, whether it's her smile, right? Whether it's, hey, I made an error, and her ownership of that and ability to move on. Breccan is who she is, regardless of her role. And at this age and at this high level, sometimes you're not always in the role that you want, right? And for me, the highest test of character is how you respond when you're challenged to not get what you want. And every athlete on our roster wants to start. And for me, Breccan's character and who she is for herself and for her teammate is not conditional to that. And I think you see that in how she commands herself, but also how she is a incredible teammate, regardless if she's starting against Michigan or she's not. And that's, I honestly can't say that about every athlete, and that's really special part of who Breccan is.
How cool is that, huh? Let's give that up. That's really neat. Breccan, for you, look, you're the connection coordinator of this group. You've been leading a lot of different ways for this group. What do you have as the goals, the expectation for this team here in 2026?
Yeah, I think for this team, a lot of it is just how can we compete at the highest level? And with that comes with the connections we've built, but also how can we then, kind of what Kristen was saying, implement that into the fire and into now we have gameplay on Friday, so it'll be really exciting to see that unfold and how the work we've put in throughout the summer and the spring and those hard times in January when we're coming in the cold, how that now will show up here in August. So I'm really excited to see how we perform and how we connect with each other on the court now.
Folks, number 18, Breccan Scheck. Give it up, everybody. Breccan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And when we come back, we're going to be joined by Karolina Staniszewska up here on the stage as well as the fun continues. We'll be back with more from the Kristen Kelsay Show presented by One North Kitchen and Bar. You're on the Spartan Media Network.
Spartans, when it's game time, it's One North time. Just minutes from Michigan State University, One North Kitchen and Bar is your go-to spot for scratch cooking and world-class hospitality. When you're celebrating a win or catching up with friends, we've got the perfect dish to make every moment special. Join us for the MSU Coaches Show and get closer to the action with the voices that bring Spartan spirit to life. Visit One North Kitchen and Bar, where Spartan pride meets memorable meals.
From the biggest of the big games to the littlest of the little.
There you go. Go!
Run, James!
No, first base!
Go, go, go!
Whenever you shop Meijer, you help support hundreds of local sports teams across the Midwest. From some of the biggest stadiums in the state to the familiar fields down the street. You're helping make a difference to the people and places you call home. Learn more at Meijer.com/community.
Auto Owners makes insurance easy. After that storm knocked my sign down, my agent Ben personally helped me through the process.
Wow, that's some service.
Yeah, he lives right around the corner. He's been my go-to since the salon opened.
Sounds like a keeper.
Morning, Lindsay.
Hey, Ben.
Just checking in to see if the payment for the sign came through.
Wait, just checking in? Who does that?
That's simple human sense. Local personalized service makes sense to us. Ask your independent agent if Auto Owners make sense for you.
Hear that roar? That's the sound of Spartan Nation. And Dean Trailways is right there, every mile of the way. As the official ground transportation provider of Michigan State Athletics, we connect Spartans to championships. For every game, every practice, every victory, we deliver it. Elite service that powers the green and white. When you demand championship-level transportation, Dean Trailways is your winning drive. Become part of our team at DeanTrailways.com.
Thanks for joining us for the Kristen Kelsay Show presented by One North Kitchen and Bar. Every team needs a timeout, and so do you. Trade the bleachers for the beach with a chance to win a 5-day, 4-night Myrtle Beach getaway for two. Enter now at visitmyrtlebeach.com/MSU. All right, folks, the job's not done for the welcoming committee. Give a nice, warm welcome to number 2, Karolina Staniszewska, everybody. Karolina, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely, we're excited. Karolina calls Warsaw, Poland home. So we're going to be diving into some of that as well in a little bit. But first, I want to give some of the accolades of Karolina from last year. And then, Kristen, I'll hand the baton to you so you can talk a little bit about this player in person as well. But last year, she was second team All Big Ten. She played in 112 out of 113 possible matches. She's the only Spartan last year to start all 30 matches. She led the Spartans in total kills with 349, kills per set at 3.12, total points with 405. She was second on the team with 235 digs. Take a deep breath. We're almost there. Third on the group with 27 service aces. I mean, that is simply unbelievable, is it not? Incredible stuff for Karolina. What did you take away from all that, Coach?
Karolina is one of the most competitive kids I've ever coached. And so these stats don't surprise me because that's who Karolina is. There was a reason at Eastern Michigan she was our court captain, right? She's our leader out there when it comes to in the moment, who are we looking to? A lot of times that answer is Karolina.
Karolina, I mean, it's a lot of impressive accolades. What was so great for you last season, and how does that springboard you forward to this year?
Yeah, I think last season we had a great opportunity to just come out there and play good volleyball and show who we are, what we can do on and off the court. So I really we had so much fun on the court last year. So that's definitely something I want to bring this season on the court and just be out there and show who we are with Kristen, coaches, and teammates. Yeah.
We should also note there was a milestone capped off at the end of last year in the finale against UCLA. Karolina accomplished 500 career kills as a Spartan. Absolutely clap it up. So we've got a lot of the accolades. But let's talk a little bit, Karolina, about for you, and we've talked about this group. It's such a tight group that's coming back from a year ago with all the success. How nice is it to come back into the locker room this summer and be like, oh, it's a lot of the same team again. We've got a pretty good rhythm heading into this.
Yeah, it's always good to have some returners that you know that are kind of connected before coming into this season. But I think adding new people and complementing the roster was also a great step for us. We have so many different personalities on the team that work so well on and off the court. So it's definitely something that's going to be fun to watch this season.
Kristen, I know as a coach that's got to be a little bit more comforting. There's always anxiety coaching, right? But when you know so many of the players and they're coming back, that's got to give you at least a leg up.
I mean, I don't know about a leg up, but I know for my life, going into my second year versus last year, right? I remember telling these athletes, I don't know, I've never coached any of you in a single match, right? And so this year, like you said, having some familiarity of what Karolina looks like. When we talk about the fire, right, we're referencing matches. And we talk about the fire, we can't replicate the fire unless you're in the fire, right? So our first time in the fire will be Friday night. And that's how can our habits and our values show up in the fire, right? And we do our best in practice to make it tough for Karolina to score. But it's not replicatable unless you're in a match. But to walk in Friday to have a returning roster where almost every starter returned, plus, like Karolina said, some really nice pieces we've complemented to that roster. As a head coach, there's a sense of knowledge that I have in year two that's allowed me to maybe work on and put my eyes somewhere else.
That's a really interesting and insightful piece there. I do also want to ask you, Coach, before we go back to Karolina. The Big Ten has done a wonderful thing with having the volleyball media days the last few years. And Karolina was somebody that you had as a representative for your program, this institution, to be there at those Big Ten media days. That can be a little bit challenging when English is not the first language for Karolina, but she did a wonderful job there. What was it that stood out about her that wanted you to have her be a representative?
Well, first of all, let's give a round of applause because I agree with that. You saw Zuza last year, right? I have so much respect for these young women who are not native English speakers to be on live television and so gracefully and authentically speak I'm more nervous in the green room, I think, than they were, you know. And Karolina represented herself in our program with so much class that I'm really, really proud of her. And for me, Karolina has grown in our time here. I mean, we can be honest. That first spring, Carol was a challenge. Karolina was like, listen, I don't care how much you know. I got to know that you care and that you're going to give me an opportunity to hit, and you're going to give me an opportunity to play on this team, you know. And she tested me respectfully, but she tested me. And for us now to have the relationship that we have, for her to have the year that she had last year as a 6th rotation outside after not really filling that role in her first 2 years, like, I have so much pride and respect for Karolina that it was a no-brainer for her to be able to share her story and to share our program and our values as someone who really is all in and did it in a way that was like, listen, you have to earn this. And then once I earned it, like, we're ride or die. But that first couple months, it was okay. Karolina is putting us through the ringer.
Love how authentic that is. I mean, that
Am I
is
wrong?
really.
No, you're so right. But we learned from each other.
We
and
did.
We're good now.
We're great now.
I would say things are working out pretty well for Karolina and MSU volleyball. Karolina, let's talk a little bit about your story. You're from Warsaw, Poland. You actually, when you were back home, you represented the Polish U22 team. I got to be curious, what kind of pride you have in representing your home country like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's always so cool to represent your own country. I've been on, like, national team for, like, 8 years, and I met great people all over the world. Some of them we're going to play, like, actually this preseason, which is cool to see them, too. And it's just so cool to represent your country.
Oh, who are a couple of those people so fans can be on the lookout?
I think there's a Serbian girl in Miami. I play against her for the past, like, 6 years. We're always like Serbia and Poland had like kind of a rivalry thingy going on. So we know what we have to do the first game. So
Carol's got the scout. She's got the scout ready to go.
You're going to be trusting Karolina with that. I do want to ask you, too, 2 questions still a little bit about Poland. One, how do you go from Warsaw, Poland to East Lansing, Michigan? How did you end up here?
Funny story. I was kind of scouted by actually national team and how well we were doing over there. And then I got on a call with MSU. I never visited campus, so I kind of didn't know what I can expect coming here. But then I like entered the campus. Me and Zuzia were here for like 3 weeks before we started preseason, and I just loved how everything worked here. I like meet my teammates. I saw my surroundings, the buildings. At first I was like, wow, what's going on? The campus is so big. That's not what I'm used to, because campuses back home look a little differently. But yeah, I just love it.
That is simply awesome. I did also want to ask you, so you make the flight over here to East Lansing, you live here. What are some of the biggest cultural adjustments that you had going from Poland here to the United States?
Yeah, just people, like, culture is a little different. I would say people here are more welcoming at first sight than back home. We have, like, resting face that looks a little different. I had to adjust my smile here, which I love, actually. It's so cool. The food is different, but I just got used to it. And it's so cool to, like, learn other cultures. I love traveling all the time, so it's something cool for me to be able to live here and experience the USA dream.
Can you talk a little bit about, Carol loves to travel. I remember the first time I FaceTimed her when I got hired. You were in Thailand. You were like, I rode an elephant today. And I was like, hi, I'm Kristen. I'm your new head coach, you know. Can you talk a little bit about what you did in May with your teammate?
Yeah, so me and Sarah, our liberal, yes, we went back home to Poland at first, then we visited Italy, we came back to Poland again, then we sailed across Croatia. It was so much fun being able to like show like American people how we live in Europe, and for her to meet my family, it was something cool.
And mind you, Sarah Vellucci had never been out of the country. And she goes for 4 weeks on this like European adventure with Karolina. And I kept telling her, like, if any point you need to leave, you can fly home. And she, like, they had the best time ever. And how cool is that, right? That so many times our in-state or United States athletes bring these guys home with them. Well, Carol got to bring her teammate now home with her, which I thought was pretty special.
Karolina, also a bit of a connection coordinator herself, Breccan. So we got a pretty deep arsenal there. But everybody, give a nice big thank you to number 2, Karolina Staniszewska. Karolina, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, this is the Kristen Kelsay Show presented by One North Kitchen and Bar. We'll be back with more after a break here on the Spartan Media Network.
Spartans, when it's game time, it's One North time. Just minutes from Michigan State University, One North Kitchen and Bar is your go-to spot for scratch cooking and world-class hospitality. When you're celebrating a win or catching up with friends, we've got the perfect dish to make every moment special. Join us for the MSU Coaches Show and get closer to the action with the voices that bring Spartan spirit to life. Visit One North Kitchen and Bar, where Spartan pride meets memorable meals.
At the Capital Region International Airport, we connect our community to the world with nonstop flights to Washington, D.C. and Chicago on American Airlines, Detroit on Delta Airlines, and Orlando and Fort Myers on Breeze Airways. When you fly Lansing, you're just one stop away from over 500 global destinations. And with direct flights to Cancun, Punta Cana, and Los Cabos from January through April, your escape to beautiful tropical beaches is easier than ever. The Capital Region International Airport, your gateway to the world. Visit flylansing.com for more information and to book your flight today.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to the end of summer sale at AutoZone. We're celebrating the end of long days and short nights with big deals for a short time. Like on Wash and Wax, you can get 3 Meguiar's products for just $20. Need new brakes? Duralast brake pads are free with the purchase of Duralast rotors. We've also got oil deals and more. We're ending the summer right with the end of summer sale at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
For an extraordinary advantage in sports, you need a game plan. For an extraordinary advantage everywhere else, all you need is Acrisure. With a high-tech human approach to insurance, cybersecurity, and more, Acrisure helps you take care of what you care about. That makes winning easy. See what Acrisure's extraordinary advantage can do for you at acrisure.com.
One North Kitchen and Bar presents the Kristen Kelsay Show. All right, folks, we're going to be talking a little bit about the great game day environment we have in East Lansing here. But before we get to the home season, what you can expect, it's time now for the Alumni Hall Trivia. Today's winner will receive tickets to the next home game and a $25 gift card to Alumni Hall. Thanks for participating in Alumni Hall Trivia. Alumni Hall, your ultimate Spartans shopping experience. The question, the 2026 season marks the blank season of Michigan State volleyball. And we have multiple choice for you, okay? So we're looking for A, B, C, or D. A, is it the 48th season of Michigan State volleyball? B, the 55th? C, the 51st? Or D, the 57th? Think you might have the answer, or you just want to try your luck, come up to that microphone down here at the end of the table, and we can get you a $25 gift card and a couple of tickets.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I like it. Yeah.
We like to challenge the people here. Well, some of these people that we're hoping to come up here and give us a trivia answer in a moment, they're going to be filling the seats in East Lansing. And, Kristen, I made the comment to you before the show even started. The attendance that you've had at these games, it's been remarkable. It's been record-breaking. But it's also important at this point to continue that momentum, continue to make MSU volleyball a tough place for teams to come in and play at. How important is it for that energy to keep up and grow?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just really grateful for all the support from everybody here who comes and attends our matches, to our marketing team and our ticket team who want to market this program, right? Who want to market women's athletics. And then our job is to provide the product, right? To make sure when you come, regardless of the outcome, we hope it's a lot of W's, that you're seeing young women who are working really hard and playing together and representing the Spartan helmet, right? Like, that's the most important part. Now, we love, and Dan, our recruiting coordinator extraordinaire, talks about all the time, right? We are top 15 in average attendance for the last 10 years. And I think 8 out of the last 10 years we're top 10. in attendance. You know, that Nebraska match, 11,500 people, right?
Wow.
The Indiana and Michigan matches of 6,000. Breslin has been such an upgrade for that, right? Because, I mean, back in my day, we used to try to fit 7,000 into Genesee Fieldhouse. No fire marshal, right? But you can't do that anymore. That's capped at 4,000. And so moving into the Breslin Center, while I know there were a couple years of getting used to it, it allows us to grow, right? It allows us to fill that stadium, to have 12,000 people cheering on women's sports and saying, listen, what you do matters, and we're showing up for you. And so we are grateful for every match, whether it's the token matches, right? Or whether it's playing anybody in non-conference. Sometimes the non-conference schedule, you don't recognize the name, but LAU is a tournament team, right? They won 20 wins last year. Mm-hmm. That match is as important as the Miami, Florida, even though Miami, Florida is a Power 4 school and you're more familiar, right? So we appreciate the unwavering support from this group and from our Spartan community who have really rallied behind these athletes and rallied behind this program. And a lot of people have come back, and that means more to me than they will ever know.
Well, and there's a bit of a special event actually with this season opener that we could talk about on the other side, and we'll take a look at some of these opponents, and we're still looking for trivia guesses, so if you think you might know, come over to that microphone at the end of the table. We're live with the head coach of the Spartans, Kristen Kelsay. Today's show is presented by One North Kitchen and Bar. You're listening to the Kristen Kelsay Show.
Hey Spartans, ready to put Michigan State at the top of the Big Ten? Abbott and the Big Ten are back with the We Give Blood competition. Donate blood anywhere in the U.S. through December 5th and submit your donation. You'll score a limited edition tee, help save up to 3 lives, and move MSU one step closer to the $1 million prize for student and community health. Text Give Blood to number 222-688 or visit big10.org/Abbott. Let's go Spartans.
Hey Spartan fans, this is the voice of Spartan Volleyball, John Krieger. Join me all season long as the Spartan Media Network serves up another exciting year of Spartan Volleyball action.
Serve on the way by Staniszewska. Let's serve, overpass, Mumchalar, count it!
You can tune in to Spartan Volleyball at msuspartans.com or by downloading the MSU Athletics app on your smartphone.
Spartans, when it's game time, it's One North time. Just minutes from Michigan State University, One North Kitchen and Bar is your go-to spot for scratch cooking and world-class hospitality. When you're celebrating a win or catching up with friends, we've got the perfect dish to make every moment special. Join us for the MSU Coaches Show and get closer to the action with the voices that bring Spartan spirit to life. Visit One North Kitchen and Bar, where Spartan pride meets memorable meals.
Meet, greet, and compete in Michigan's capital city. The Lansing Sports Commission is dedicated to helping you host your next athletic tournament or event in Greater Lansing. Our free services include everything from event development and tournament planning to promotions and recruiting volunteers. No matter the sport, the LSC can make your next event your best event. Plan on something greater. Find details at lansingsports.org.
We are back with more Spartan Volleyball on the Kristen Kelsay Show, presented by One North Kitchen and Bar. Football Saturdays start and end at One North Kitchen and Bar in East Lansing with big screens, cold beer, and all your favorite game day eats. All right, I believe we might have a guest here at our Alumni Hall Trivia. Again, for the folks, the question is, the 2026 season marks the blank season of Michigan State Volleyball. Is it A, the 48th, B, the 55th, C, the 51st, or D, the 57th?
B.
What? You got B?
Yep.
And you got it right.
Yeah!
How about that? Congratulations. We'll make sure to get you 2 tickets and the gift card to Alumni Hall. Thank you for participating. All right, we don't have a ton of time here, Coach.
Sure.
But we do want to take a look at the week ahead. There's some great matchups. We've highlighted a little bit already Miami, Long Island, but also the Big Ten SEC Challenge. And before the next show, there's even the Kathy DeBoer Invitational. So there's a lot right in front of your group and your players. But also, before we talk about some of these individual teams, there's a pretty special event going on with MSU, FCU, and Michigan State Volleyball.
Yeah, Friday night we're honoring, right? We were the first university to have the jersey patch sponsorship, which is pretty cool. And so we're honoring April Klobes is going to come do the first serve, the president and CEO of MSU, FCU. She was in Jennison Fieldhouse yesterday practicing. She's going to do the first serve on Friday. Our staff, you're going to see us with the patch. They did a huge push. I think MSU, FCU, their staff alone is bringing over 100 people to our game on Friday night. And that's become a partnership with the university and with our program specifically. To have a really strong woman in front of our young women is really important to me. So that's pretty cool. It's also Go Green, Wear Green. So we're going to be cheering everybody to wear green Friday night. And we're really excited about honoring that partnership we have with MSU, FCU.
That'll be really, really a special thing. And Go Green, Wear Green, going to need all the support because into town come the Miami Hurricanes. It's a group that was in the NCAA tournament last year. They're currently receiving votes. You're currently receiving votes. I mean, this is flirting with a top 25 battle. It is what this game really is. To kick off the season, that's a big way to launch the 2026 season, but it should be a lot of fun. But what stands out to you when you look at the Miami Hurricanes right now?
Well, I look at our schedule as a whole, right? So we are, from an RPI standpoint, Miami is a higher RPI than we played all of non-conference last year, right? So we're testing our team with these two teams earlier than we did until we went to Minnesota last year. So I'm excited to see how our team responds to this test this early. But then we play 4 matches in 6 days because then on Monday we drive to Ann Arbor, right, and we play LSU and South Carolina, other top 100 RPA teams, before we turn around and go on the road to Central Michigan and then home that next Tuesday against Western Michigan. And so we know, our group knows, right, today's even a little bit of a deload day because we're about to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of matches. Again, a tough test for these guys right out of the gate, which they are excited for. I'll tell you one thing. You should be very proud. They are not backing down. They are so excited for this upcoming schedule. It's going to be tough, so it's a good challenge for us pretty early.
Those are a lot of big-ticket matchups, right, to come make sure you watch and take in some Spartan volleyball. The one question I have for you, too, before we take a break here real quick, Kristen, and come back to wrap up, one of the events we just mentioned that we won't get to talk about before the next Kristen Kelsay show, the Kathy DeBoer Invitational. And, of course, it's the legacy of Kathy DeBoer. This is September 18th and 20th against Drake and Wright State here at Michigan State. But I want to get your comments on her legacy and for the alumni to return the way they do.
Yeah, I mean, how privileged are we that we get to say that Kathy DeBoer, right, is the namesake of our tournament, is an alumnus of Michigan State. And she took the time out of her schedule last year to talk to our team, to talk to how sports looked like when she was a player. Do you guys remember this? Like, one of the most impactful, moving conversations I've ever been a part of, to hear Kathy share her experiences and what it was like pre-Title IX and what it was like for women and the shoulders that we are literally and figuratively standing on that include Kathy's. So for her to take time out of her schedule to come back every year to honor our program, for us to celebrate her and for her to share the wisdom that she has is like the privilege of a lifetime for our program. And again, two really top tournament teams, you know, and it's going to be another tough weekend. I think you're seeing a theme here, right? But we want to be prepared walking into 2 opportunities for postseason this year, and that includes challenging our athletes early. And we're lucky to have Kathy DeBoer cheering us on in green and white that weekend.
That is something really, really special and one of the crowning things of MSU volleyball. We'll be back with more from Coach Kelsay. You're on the Spartan Media Network.
Spartans, when it's game time, it's One North time. Just minutes from Michigan State University, One North Kitchen and Bar is your go-to spot for scratch cooking and world-class hospitality. When you're celebrating a win or catching up with friends, we've got the perfect dish to make every moment special. Join us for the MSU Coaches Show and get closer to the action with the voices that bring Spartan spirit to life. Visit One North Kitchen and Bar, where Spartan pride meets memorable meals.
Auto Owners makes insurance easy. After that storm knocked my sign down, my agent Ben personally helped me through the process.
Wow, that's some service.
Yeah, he lives right around the corner. He's been my go-to since the salon opened.
Sounds like a keeper.
Morning, Lindsay.
Hey, Ben.
Just checking in to see if the payment for the sign came through.
Wait, just checking in? Who does that?
That's simple human sense. Local personalized service makes sense to us. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
For an extraordinary advantage in sports, you need a game plan. For an extraordinary advantage everywhere else, all you need is Acrisure. With a high-tech human approach to insurance, cybersecurity, and more, Acrisure helps you take care of what you care about. That makes winning easy. See what Acrisure's extraordinary advantage can do for you at acrisure.com.
Need up-to-date information on how to listen to the Spartans? Make sure to follow the Spartan Media Network on social media to see upcoming broadcasts of coaches' shows, ball games, features, and exclusive clips. Check out the Spartan Media Network on X, Facebook, and Instagram, and follow your radio home of the Michigan State Spartans. Go Green!
Thanks for joining us and the Spartan fans here at One North for the Kristen Kelsay Show presented by One North Kitchen and Bar. Join us for the Michigan Sports Brief every weekday on all of our Spartan Media Network affiliates presented by Frankenmuth Insurance. Find a network independent agent at www.fmins.com. Those will get started next Monday, by the way, as well. All right, as we start to wind down here, Coach, taking a look at the week ahead, we've discussed it a little bit. One of the interesting things that you and I briefly talked about actually during the commercial break, even the road games, folks, these are ones that are nearby that you can make your way to. The Big Ten SEC Challenge coming up early next week, a road trip to Central Michigan. So feel free, pack the bags, fill up the car, make your way over and watch some Spartan volleyball wherever they are for the next couple of weeks. But also, it's a pretty tight turnaround. I mean, you highlighted a little bit, but some of these games are frankly pretty early too. The first one against Miami, that's a 6 o'clock first serve. The next day, it's at 3 o'clock. So that's less than 24 hours to turn it around. And then the Big Ten SEC challenges are pretty early as well.
Yeah, and we mimicked our preseason training off of this schedule, right? Where we're going to go hard for 3 days, and we'll have a day off. And then we got to go hard for 3 more days. It's kind of like what the Big Ten tournament will look like, right? You're going to have to play a number of matches in a row with a break and keep playing. It's what the NCAA tournament looks like, right? So we're a little bit used to, I think, in the era before where you play Friday, Saturday, right? Well, that's not what it is anymore, right? We play Tuesdays at home. We got Oakland coming to us and Western coming to us. We play a number of Big Ten matches on Wednesdays and Thursdays, right? We go to Champaign on Thursday. So giving them the experience of playing on a school day during the week with a quick turnaround will pay off down the road.
We'll have to be quick here, Coach, but if I put you under the pressure, biggest thing you want to see out of your team in all of these games, what is it you want to challenge them with and see in response?
I mean, my blink says a win, but what really matters is that our values show up and that we are who we are as we're figuring our systems and everything out, that we are who we are in the fire.
And we're certainly looking forward to seeing all that as well. A big thank you on the way out to our on-site producer, Chris Ordway. If you need audio production for your upcoming event, contact Russell Ashman at ra-audio.com. Back in the Skyview studios, Matt Kachuris Valenzuela, big thank you to him. Big thank you as well to Karolina Staniszewska, Breccan Scheck for joining us. Big thanks to One North Kitchen and Bar and the entire service staff. Big thank you to head coach Kristen Kelsay and all of you who tuned in and joined us here on this Wednesday afternoon. For one final time, I'm Dalton Shetler. So long, and go green.
Thank you, Dalton. Thanks for being here.
You've been listening to The Kristen Kelsay Show on the Spartan Media Network from Playfly Sports. The Kristen Kelsay Show is presented by One North Kitchen and Bar, making good times great. The Kristen Kelsay Show is also brought to you by Farm Bureau, Michigan's insurance company, MSU FCU. Spartan fans dream big with MSU Federal Credit Union. Meijer, supporting hundreds of sports teams across the Midwest. And Alumni Hall, your ultimate Spartan shopping experience. The Kristen Kelsay Show has been a presentation of Playfly Sports in partnership with Michigan State Athletics. All rights reserved. Join us next time, right here on the Spartan Media Network.